3 years ago, I planted a tree I'd barely heard of, a Paulownia, sometimes called the Empress tree or the Princess tree. I planted it because I read it could grow 10 feet in a single season, and honestly, I thought that sounded ridiculous. I had to see for myself. That first year, the sapling hit about 6 feet. Respectable, but nothing crazy. Then winter came. I cut it back to the ground, and the following spring, the established root system sent up a single shoot that grew over 12 feet in one season. Leaves the size of dinner platters, some of them nearly 2 feet across, heart-shaped and velvety soft. And in early spring, before a single leaf appeared, these clusters of pale violet flowers opened up on bare branches, filling the whole yard with a scent the Missouri Botanical Garden describes as reminiscent of vanilla. I stood in my garden holding a piece of this wood for the first time, and something felt wrong. Not wrong with the wood, wrong with me, for never hearing about it. It was silky and blonde, almost golden, with a fine, glossy grain. And it was shockingly light. I actually looked inside it to see if it was hollow. It wasn't. Paulownia weighs about 14 to 19 pounds per cubic foot. That's roughly 1/3 the weight of oak, and it barely moves when it dries, shrinking only 2% radially. For something this light, it is remarkably stable and strong. I thought I'd found a fun, fast-growing shade tree. But then I started reading about what happens when you put a match to it. And that's when this story stopped being about gardening and started being about something much bigger. In 2007, researchers Peng Li and Juhachi Oda at Kanazawa University in Japan published a peer-reviewed study in the Journal of Materials Science asking a simple question. Why does Paulownia resist fire when other woods of similar density do not? What they found should have rewritten building codes. Paulownia auto-ignites at over 420 degrees Celsius. Standard lumber ignites between 220 and 360 degrees. But the temperature was only the beginning. Li and Oda identified 4 mechanisms working together. First, a honeycomb-like cellular structure that chars on the surface instead of letting fire burn inward. Second, low lignin content, meaning fewer combustible gases released when it heats up. Third, large vessel structures that starve fire of oxygen, unlike cedar, whose thin continuous fibers feed flame like a wick. And fourth, the char layer itself becomes an insulating shield. Think about that. When this wood catches fire, it builds its own armor. The surface sacrifices itself while the interior stays cool. A third-generation chest maker in Tokyo, named Haruo Katayama, has seen this with his own hands. His family has been building Paulownia furniture for over 100 years. He says that since Paulownia burns slowly, there have been many cases where even when the house burns down, the Paulownia chest survives like black charcoal, and the things inside are protected with no harm. The clothes inside don't even need washing. The house is gone. The chest stands. And then in July of 2025, Paulownia earned a Class A flame spread rating under ASTM 84. That is the highest fire classification for building materials in the United States. According to the lab that performed the testing, it became one of only 4 untreated woods ever tested to receive that rating, and the only one grown in North America. No chemicals, no retardant coating, just wood. Now, I want to be honest with you here. Paulownia is not fireproof. It burns. It absolutely will ignite at high enough temperatures, but it ignites much later and spreads flame far more slowly than the lumber you're buying at the hardware store right now. The USDA even documents Paulownia seeds colonizing landscapes after wildfires. So this is fire-resistant wood, not magic wood. But even fire-resistant should have been enough to get someone's attention. And it did. Just not here. Not in the United States. In China, they've been paying attention for over 3,000 years. In 1986, a team at the Chinese Academy of Forestry, led by Zhao-Hua, compiled millennia of cultivation knowledge into a single book. What they documented was staggering. Nearly 1.3 million hectares of Chinese farmland intercropped with Paulownia alongside grain, each benefiting the other. In Langkao County, 400,000 mu of sandy wasteland was converted into productive forest, a tree they've grown longer than most Western nations have existed. In Japan, the Paulownia crest appears on the Prime Minister's office, on government passports, and on the 500 yen coin. It's considered the second noblest emblem in the country, surpassed only by the chrysanthemum. But the tradition I keep thinking about is the personal one. When a daughter was born, families planted Paulownia saplings, sometimes 3 of them. By the time she reached marriageable age, the fast-growing trees were ready for harvest, and the wood became her dowry furniture. Families bet their daughter's future on how fast this tree could grow. In Korea, the 12-string gayagum, one of the country's most iconic instruments, has its body carved from a single piece of Paulownia. The Korean proverb says it plainly. When a son was born, a pine tree was planted in the mountain. When a daughter was born, a Paulownia tree was planted in the field. 3 civilizations, 3,000 years, 3 languages for the same tree. Emperor's seals, daughters' futures, the contents of homes during fire. Not one of them called it a weed, but in the United States, that is exactly what we called it. Paulownia tomentosa, one species out of the 7 recognized in the genus, is listed as invasive in at least 15 states. And the ecological concern is real. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. A single mature tree can produce millions of tiny winged seeds that travel for kilometers on the wind. After wildfires, Paulownia seedlings can carpet the burned ground. But here's where it gets complicated. A researcher named Dane Kuppinger earned his doctorate at the University of North Carolina in 2008, studying Paulownia colonization in the Appalachian wilderness. His conclusion was that Paulownia is apparently a poor competitor for space and light, and that native vegetation will eventually exclude it. Oregon State University states plainly that in the Pacific Northwest, Paulownia does not behave invasively, and the commercially planted varieties, Paulownia elongata, Fortunae, and sterile hybrids like Cultivation 2 and clone in vitro 112, don't appear on any invasive list anywhere. Cultivation 2 is registered as sterile. Clone 112 produces non-viable seeds. The trees that would actually enter the lumber market pose no ecological threat, yet Connecticut banned the entire conversation. Under state statute, Paulownia tomentosa is prohibited. You cannot import it, sell it, plant it, or even move it. Fines of up to $100 per plant. 1 species banned. The rest of the genus ignored as if sterile varieties don't exist. Now let me show you the numbers behind the silence. The U.S. softwood lumber market generates $51 billion annually. Southern yellow pine alone makes up nearly 85% of all pressure-treated wood sold in America. Weyerhaeuser, the industry's biggest player, posted over $7 billion in revenue last year. Sitting next to that lumber is the fire retardant chemical industry, worth over $1 billion in North America alone. Chemical treatment roughly doubles the cost of lumber, and one of the most common historical treatments, CCA, chromated copper arsenate, was banned for residential use in 2003 because arsenic is a known human carcinogen. it's still permitted for industrial applications. A naturally fire-resistant wood eliminates the need for those chemicals entirely. Billions of dollars in revenue gone. And here's the lock on the door. For any wood species to gain structural approval in the U.S. Building Code, it needs to go through the American Wood Council's National Design Specification. That system was built around softwood species native to North America. Paulownia has never been formally submitted, not because it was rejected, because the pathway was never designed for it. There's no smoking gun here, no secret memo from a lumber lobby. The system isn't hostile, it's just indifferent. Built by incumbents, for incumbents, with no door constructed for alternatives, but people are building around the wall. A company called World Tree now manages over 7,000 acres of Paulownia across 5 countries. They secured the Class A fire rating. At Fort Valley State University in Georgia, Dr. Nirmal Joshi, funded by the USDA, maintains 2,500 Paulownia trees on campus and has produced 420 pounds of honey from those trees. Light-colored, aromatic, mild, selling at $30 a pound with a waiting list. Former President Jimmy Carter grew a grove of Paulownia on his Georgia farm. A surfboard maker in South Carolina named Paul Rice builds hollow-frame Paulownia boards that weigh under 7 pounds. He puts it simply, by supporting Paulownia agriculture, we can preserve old-growth forests while increasing carbon capture. If you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe. I cover plants like this every week, the ones that deserve way more attention than they're getting. Now here's what you can actually do in your garden. If you want to grow Paulownia, avoid tomentosa in states where it's restricted. Look for Paulownia elongata or fortunae, or ask for sterile hybrid varieties specifically. They grow in USDA zones 5 through 9 depending on species, need full sun and well-drained soil, and they're honestly not that difficult once established. The University of Tennessee Extension says to think of it more like growing an apple orchard than a pine plantation. Coppice the tree when the base reaches about 3 inches in diameter. Cut it to the ground in early March. Let the root system drive one massive straight shoot and thin any competing sprouts by late June. That single shoot can hit 10 to 16 feet in one season. The root system lasts 70 to 100 years and supports multiple harvest cycles. The flowers are a magnet for honeybees, bumblebees, and hummingbirds, blooming in early spring when almost nothing else is feeding pollinators. The leaves are rich in nitrogen and decompose quickly to build soil, and the deep root system makes this tree a soil remediation machine. Strip-mined land, sandy waste, compacted clay. Paulownia has been documented improving all of it. This tree is not a silver bullet. It takes attention, it takes knowledge, and it takes choosing the right variety for your region. But the knowledge exists. It has existed for 3,000 years. We just stopped listening. I'll see you in the next one.